Swadee krap and welcome to Thailand News Today, a day when a lot of people want to find out more about this new special tourist visa. We hope to fill in some of the blanks. Also, we ask you to like, subscribe and get notifications. This is how you do it. And now time for today's news. The Thai government approved a plan in principle to allow tourists to come for a minimum of 90 days, renewable, but they still will have to do the 14-day quarantine. The government hopes that the new plan will reinvigorate Thailand's tourist industry. Thai PM Prayut Chan-o-cha announced that the government would issue special tourist visas for visitors who would have to come for at least 90 days, but they could extend for another 90 days 2 more times, making a total of almost 9 months. The new long-stay visitors would begin to arrive from as early as next month. The announcement has raised as many questions as it has answers. Will people currently in Thailand on an expired tourist visa because of the visa amnesty be able to roll over onto the new visa? Or will they have to leave the country and reapply? And will people be able to convert the new long-stay visa into other visas once they're inside Thailand? The new STV will cost 2,000 baht for each 90 days. Here are the basic requisites you'll need to meet to apply.
Number 1. A foreigner who wishes to travel to stay for a long period. Long stay travel in Thailand. Number 2. A foreigner who has acknowledged they are willing to comply with Thailand's public health measures in Thailand and agree to conduct a state quarantine at an alternative local state quarantine for 14 days. Number 3. A foreigner who provides evidence of long-term residency in Thailand, including evidence of payment for the hotel accommodation or hospital accommodation that provides alternative state quarantine service in Thailand, and at least one piece of the following evidence. Proof of payment for hotel accommodation or hospital accommodation after the state quarantine. A copy of ownership of an apartment or condominium belonging to foreigners or family members of foreigners. A copy of a rental license or deposit payment of the purchase of apartment, condominium or house by foreigners in Thailand.
Many people commenting about the new visa have said the 14-day quarantine is still the major stumbling block. Others have bemoaned that there are still very few flights to get back to Thailand at the moment, and that in some cases their country won't allow citizens to travel anyway. Dengue fever is making a reappearance in North and Northeast Thailand. Almost 6,000 cases and 4 deaths in the past 9 months. The mosquito-spread disease is also known as bone break fever because common symptoms include pain in muscles, bone and joints. A fever, nausea and a rash are common symptoms. The cases were reported in the Isan provinces of Khao San, Khao San, Mahasarakam. The cases were reported in the Isan provinces of Khao San, Khao San, Mahasarakam and Royet. Severe dengue fever can be life-threatening, but most people recover in about a week. From January the 1st to August the 29th this year, over 6,000 people were reported with dengue fever in the northeast provinces. In June, across Thailand, there were 15,385 cases of dengue fever, with 18 deaths. 5,828 of those cases were children aged 5 to 14. Thai security agencies are downplaying this weekend's planned student protests, saying that they'll only attract around 20,000 people rather than the 50,000 the protesters are predicting. A security source also says they're confident the protests won't become violent. The last big rally, early in this phase of opposition demonstrations, was on August the 16th and was held at Bangkok's Democracy Monument. It attracted up to 10,000 people. In a niggling response to the lead-up to this Saturday's rally, the security source suggested the current protesters were not tough enough. He said it's unlikely that the protesters will be tough enough to camp out for long periods. The rally, proposed to be staged at the Thammasat University Thap Prachan campus on Saturday, is led by the United Front of Thammasat and Demonstration. The UFTD's demands for reform to the country's monarchy are not shared by some of the other student bodies who have been rallying for democratic reform of the government only. The Thai PM has already made it clear that he wanted police to avoid any violent clashes at all costs. He's also asked police not to intervene if the protesters fulfil their promise to march on Government House at the end of the Thammasat campus rally. Well, we're still in the midst of Thailand's annual wet season, but the Thai Meteorological Department is predicting that there's going to be heavy rain from this Friday until Sunday. They say a Category 2 tropical depression is situated over the middle of the South China Sea and is strengthening to become a Category 3 tropical storm. The storm was moving in a west-northwest direction at a speed of 15 kilometres per hour, with sustained winds of 65 kilometres an hour, and was expected to make landfall over middle of Vietnam and then drift across into northern Thailand. Well, the party is coming back to Khao San Road this Halloween. During the lockdown, the party streets had a bit of a makeover, and the Bangkok governor says it's now time to reopen. Khao San Road is known for its grungy and lively bar scene, as well as its eccentric mix of street food, mixed in with a few tourist scams and cheap fake documents. Well, during the lockdown, 48.5 million baht was spent on the street for major renovations like levelling out the roads and footpaths, adding some gutters and space for emergency vehicles. Now a Khao San Road Halloween party will be held and include 240 food vendors set up along the street from 9 a.m. till midnight for the Halloween weekend, including the Saturday, October the 31st and the day after. That's all the main news from Thailand today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please keep following us. We're back each weekday. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.